This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now, with all that being said, let's open it up and see if my Elmer's out there this afternoon. Good afternoon, Elmer.
Good afternoon.
What's shaking your way, sir?
Today is dedicated to you. I'm all about hanging in here the whole day for you.
Oh, well, gosh. Is it Valentine's Day?
It is that.
Well, there you go. And tall clover, man, I'm glad that you have selected this day to honor with your presence.
It's a good day in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir. There's a couple of things I had in mind that I wanted to discuss that maybe over the period of time I haven't really explained the importance of very well, Roger.
And that would be station ground?
Well, more specifically, I think my setup procedure, this thing called TBC, or transmit bandwidth, actually it's TBW, is really important because as you reduce that upper frequency through choice, or accident or whatever, you are actually rolling off the top of your audio because you're putting a filter into effect there that says I'm not going to let audio of that frequency pass that frequency, whatever you selected. And so it doesn't matter, all the EQ in the world is not going to help you on the top end if your TBW is set to like 25, 26, something like that. And that's why, we consider it very important to, start talking about the first thing is the TBW, and we're looking for a 100 to 2900 TBW, because that lets you have just a slice of daylight before you're annoyingly into somebody else's conversation. Just a point of grace there that is important for good operation as best as you can do. And again, that is the transmit bandwidth. Most radios today have three different selections, and one of those is called wide, which is that 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth, and that's the one that I think that you would let the transmitter operate at its best, and then give you just a slice of daylight before a problem. Roger?
Roger. I just changed mine from 38 to 33,000.
29, man. Give him a break. 29.
All right, I'm going to 29.
Now, see, you may be operating in some of those more exotic bands where you don't have the clutter that we have right particularly in this frequency range right here. There's a lot of nets up and down the scale that trying to do a job, so we suggest that everybody that's running and contacting us be in that 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth, so there's not a problem amongst the group. Now, you can go out to the outer edges of the band and pretty much, within reason, do whatever it is that one wants to do. But right in here, it's really important to try to keep everything transmit-wise as cool as possible.
Yeah, being a good steward, yes. Being a good steward of the frequency, I totally agree with you, Jim.
And then, continue on with our setup, the next stage of that, off of that, would be your compressor processor. A compressor processor is really important because it fortifies the audio to some degree. Now, when you start getting suck-up between words, you're past fortifying. It's become annoying. So what you want to do is try to be as selective as possible on your compression processor, and we suggest a 3 on that. A 3 and a 6 in my estimation are the same as far as actually working on the word, but the 6 gives you suck up after the word, which doesn't do anybody any good.
Sounds good to me.
And then once you get all that set up, and I'm doing this in a sequential manner because you do have to get the TBW squared away first, and you do have to get the compressor in there only slightly, and that's just a third of it, before you start to set your main modulation level, which is the use of your mic volume control, so to speak, or your mic attenuator in your radio, to adjust up and down as you say the word audio. Just the first part of that word, is such a good tonality to set a level. If you look at that word on a spectrum analyzer, you'll see wall-to-wall harmonics. And that's what you want when you set up a radio. So when you say the word and then adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3 or 7, whichever comes first. So again, on that ALC adjustment, it's when you say the word audio, don't stress it, just say it as you would say any other word in a QSO, but adjust your mic level until your ALC meter is showing 2/3 or 7, depending on how it goes. Roger?
Yes, sir.
And once you have ballistically things pretty much in order, only then can you really try to equalize the signal, because ballistically things make such a difference as far as EQ is concerned. So you've got this signal now, and you've got it tuned up, you've got it maxed to the right level, and then you can go into your tone control or your frequency adjustment and start maybe bringing up the top end. I always like the top end because it is the intelligibility aspect of your transmission. And if you lose or you're not bumping up that top end to where you really can be heard and understood, that's what the top end does. It is the articulation and enunciation aspect to your voice. And so when you're hanging out there and you've got 100 dB noise coming at you and 150 dB or 150 people on contesting you or contesting somebody else, and you're trying to get in there, you really want to be as articulated as possible, so at least they can maybe understand your call sign. So we suggest, it depends, because each mic is different, and that's the thing we really have to listen to you about as far as setting that EQ. But we do want a nice crisp top end, maybe just a little tad right at crisp, because usually the degradation that occurs on a shortwave transmission usually has to do with the top end. There's very seldom a QRM situation as far as the bottom end, unless it's too much. So I think you have to have a very balanced signal, top and bottom, so to speak, but just a little bit on the leading edge on the top. So, if you were to lose the top end of your EQ, say through Mother Nature bending back your signal from two different spots out there in the ether waves, and then when they come back to the receive station, they're maybe starting to show a difference in phasing, because they were reflected from two different points in time. So you introduce the time element there, and when they come back, they try to combine, but one might be just a little bit out of phase, or even more out of phase than the other signal. So they start canceling out the top end of the upper end of the frequency range in your signal. And just depending on how bad and how equal the phasing is as to how much you lose on the top end. Now, consider the point that you still have, or you started off with this beautiful bottom end and top end, and then Mother Nature comes along and whacks most of your top end. Then you have to be careful that you don't become Mr. Mumbles, because that's all that left. she's phased out the top end. And so that's why I, try to be careful about how much bottom end I suggest, because I'm trying to hear that signal also in a bad QRM situation where Mother Nature has reflected the two different your signal in two different time zones, and when they come back together, they phase cancel each other, and then you're left with what's left, which is mumbles. So I try to play that, and get enough top end to help in that kind of a situation. Roger?
That's beautiful, what he does. It's music to my ears.
Yes, sir. And you never can tell. Mother Nature is just, since I've been playing with these internet SDRs, which are all across the country, I have developed a philosophy, I guess, about what Mother Nature is doing over a wide spectrum, because I'm zooming through 3 different time zones, or 2, because it's simply because I'm listening mainly on the in the East Coast, so I'm going down the East Coast. But maybe 3,000 miles from Montreal to Miami, or something in there. I'm not really sure, but a lot of distance, and I can hear what Mother Nature's doing as far as the signal, as far as it's moving up and down the coast, and one station will be just hot as a son of a gun at one place and be dead in the waters at 2 other places, and then that will reverse. So Mother Nature is not stagnant as far as moving the signals around. Roger?
Oh, yeah. The absence of one is presence of another.
I think that's true. I really do. And, I have thought about this. You have seen in the book, of course, how the radiation waves move off of a dipole antenna to the right angle of the antenna run. So I'm, if that is electronically what's really happening, then you must consider the fact that you're going to be hotter broadside off a dipole antenna than off the ends. So with that in mind, I tried to figure out where I wanted to go, and it was pretty much from one end of the East Coast to the other. So that's why I laid out the antenna that we did to pinpoint Miami and up into Canada,
Orientation is an excellent situation.
Roger, and that's I was trying to remember what that was. Energy. I keep thinking RFI, but it's not RFI. It's power. What is the formula? ADI, RFI over ADI, or something like that.
You know those formulas better than anybody, Jim.
Well, it's your RF power over your audience of dominant influence, and it has to do with how well that your signal is getting into the area that you want to get into. And with that in mind, and talking about dipole antennas radiating broadside to the run, then if you were to be broadside to the point that you want to transmit in, it would look like that would be the best orientation, as opposed to having your dipole run hot towards the end to the location that you're trying to transmit to.
Yes, the signal coming off the side of the wire, that's correct.
So, it's just when you consider all these things that we've been talking about, it's just, a combination of all those things that will really help you perform the operation as you would like. And everybody wants to make contacts. I think that's why we're there, to make contact. We're not there to sit to listen to static. I mean, unless there are some out there that are kind of strange, I guess. But mainly, we want to talk to people, and so everything we can do to ensure our contact, the better off we are.
Well, Jimmy, it's kind of like this. The back in 1972, the old saying was, when you spend $1 for the radio, you need to spend $3 for the antenna.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, though. I mean, all you have to do is I think you can build a dipole antenna fairly inexpensive, for maybe $10 or so. I don't think you have to spend a lot of money to build a dipole antenna, Roger.
Oh, I agree with that the analogy, but however, again, there's an old saying from engineers back in the 60s and the early 70s, for every dollar you spend for radio, spend $3. In other words, a nice big custom tower, a nice rotatable beam, a link couple tuner at the bottom of the tower, radiating the whole tower on 160, using the 40 meter 4-element beam as a top hat, the whole 9 yards. I'm talking about the whole gamut, Jimmy.
Roger. I was writing something about my grandfather. I forgot what I called it. I'll be looking for that, and I think that'd be fairly interesting. Roger.
Roger. Hey, give a friend of mine, Chuck, VMO. Hey, Chuck, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here reading the mail. In the midst of recouping from a cold, and I heard you guys on, and I thought I'd just jump in there and say hi. I've talked to Jim before, and of course Lou. I'm on the special right now, even as we speak.
Jimmy, that's the 850 we could never find the owner to, so I boxed it up and shipped it to Chuck.
Oh, really? Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Once again, he had to send it off and spend a lot of money to get it straightened out. But it got straightened out.
Yeah, they put the DDS chips and the battery and cleaned everything and aligned it, and it sounds pretty good.
Oh, it does. All new capacitors, too. Now, Chuck, what I got to do, send you a nice desktop mic to get rid of that. That microphone's driving me crazy, Chuck.
I'll tell you what, you find the mic, I'll cover the shipping.
It could be, I don't know, maybe if you kind of pulled it to the corner of your lips and actually touched the corner of your lips to get a signal-to-noise ratio up there a little bit, and then just talk past the mic, but actually touch the corner of your lips. Roger?
No, he's got key clicks when he's doing the microphone like this with the switch. In other words,
and yes, I need to get a desk
he's
mic,
doing that.
And it's on my agenda, Lou. I'm just not sure what way to go. But yes, I do want to get a desk mic.
I'm giving him a little rap over it, Jimmy.
Roger. Well, it's in search of perfection. We never reach it, but we can always do our darndest to search for it, and there's a lot, like I say, there's a lot of little things that when you come to the end of it and you've taken care, and you've got now you would have, or if you could have, a windscreen, on that microphone, a foam windscreen on a desk mic or something, you will have, and that, I don't know if his radio would support a condenser element desk mic at all. What do you know?
Well, Jimmy, he is a blind ham, so he has to have a special module in his radio to tell him where he's at. So it does quite well. So being with the post office for 30-something years and being very productive as a blind, being in the working society that he was, a lot of fun. He brings a lot of character to ham radio. Over.
Roger. And what's your name out there?
Chuck here, Whiskey Alpha 8, Victor Mike Ocean.
Mike, and whereabouts are you, sir?
WA8VMO, name is Chuck, QTH, Cincinnati, Ohio. In fact, I told you I'm the guy that put the sin into Cincinnati.
Roger that. And what radio is running today?
The TS850 SAT. It's the one that Lou had had tucked away in a closet, buried under some towels, and he packaged it up and sent it to me, and I got it restored, and now it's on the air.
Good going there. Good going. Yeah, I would suggest, how old is the radio?
This is according to this serial number, this would be early 1997.
Lou, is that a mic level thing input that would have DC to run a condenser mic?
No, he doesn't have DC on his. No, it's a Kenwood. So he would have to go with. I'm trying to think if I have a Kenwood desk mic around. I'm trying to find the actual hand mic that belongs to that radio, and that way he can send me the Owen back, because I'm going to modify it a little bit. I'm either going to fix it or take it out and shoot it with a 9mm.
That too.
I believe with a little lithium grease will take that cracking away.
I don't know. That's a pretty hard clunk.
How many other stations are out here listening to the Dr. VKV show? Can we get a count?
That's for sure.
How many other stations can we get a count as to who listens to the Dr. VKV? So please come in with your call sign.